Pro Day Dirt is back 3 whole weeks after we last saw round 15. We get round 16. And even for us at Rugby, the Pro Day Dirt super fans, it takes a bit of reminding as to where we were at just before that break, before Christmas. So what were the narratives before that break? Grenoble were 5 points clear at the top and clearly the team to beat. Brive not too far behind that. The league generally is a bit more stretched out than what we're used to seeing, perhaps, in Pro Day Dirt. It's normally very, very tight. So, especially at the bottom, now Nice 7 points off the access match. Place in 15th, having not won any of their last 6 games. The barrage, as ever, is going to be an absolute bun fight. Biarritz really hampered in that race with the barrage by their 5-point deduction for going for administrative and financial reporting delays. Again, I still think that's pretty harsh. On the field, Béziers and Provence probably still best of the rest. Again, I think Béziers probably the third best side in the league. Again. Oyonnax, many people's pre-season favourites for the whole league, finally turned a corner with a couple of wins after 5 defeats in a row. They also got their first away win in the last round. And what about this round then? So we're past halfway mark, so we get the retour leg of fixtures, so the first set of repeat fixtures. And there are some intriguing repeat fixtures because of some of those kind of... So the previous games, the reverse fixtures were slightly symbolic for some of those sides. There's a strong argument for all home wins in this round, but as always, we are not going to settle for that at Rugby. So let's get into it and let's see where we think there might not be home wins. The round kicks off on Thursday night. Grenoble versus Montauban. High-flying Grenoble. Starting to get to a point before the break of really destroying teams. They absolutely hammered Nice away at Nice. So Montauban will go there with a bit of trepidation. But Montauban are one of only 4 teams to beat Grenoble this season. The break came at a pretty good time for them. They've had 4 defeats in a row. After a good start of 8 wins in their first 11. They were top at one point. So maybe the Christmas break has been a chance to reset. They have played some brilliant rugby. Maybe suffered because of the colder months. I wonder if that's got anything to do with it. And there's not many places going to be colder this weekend than Grenoble, the Stade des Alpes. It's probably a bit of a clue how cold it's going to be. Grenoble have also picked a fairly fearsome side. So recording this Thursday morning, we've seen the sides. That's a pretty fearsome side they've put out. Sam Davis at 10, the Magician of the Mountains. It's just extended by another 3 years, I think it is, Grenoble. What a signing he's been so far. Probably going to lead them into the top 14 at this rate. Almost certainly going to lead them to a victory on Thursday night against Montauban. Biarritz versus Soyunga-Lem. One of the games around this. Why? Because of the points deduction, really. So this could have been 5th versus 6th. And Biarritz host a side that replaced them in 5th. Biarritz at home in round 8 was actually SAXV's first home win of the season. And that game also went semi-viral because of Seydou Diakite, the 23-year-old prop, absolutely destroyed a Biarritz scrum, sent the guys airborne in that scrum. SAXV took a bit of a hammering in their last home game away at Oyonnax, so they've now got the second best away record in the league, and they actually go to Biarritz, who have the second best home record in the league. And Biarritz have actually nilled a couple of sides at the Aguilera this season. In fact, they are the only side in Pro Day to have nilled anyone this season. So it'll be interesting to see how these two sides match up physically. Both seems to have had good games and bad games on that front. If SAXV can get the upper hand, Ben Botica, our man in purple, he made the fans' team of the season so far at 10. He can kind of dictate them around the park, kick them the goals if they can match or better Biarritz physically. So all in all, an intriguing game. Rich is backing our boys SAXV, and I'm afraid I'm going against them. I think that Biarritz home record, the Aguilera just seems to be giving them real life at the moment. I just think they're going to be too strong at home. But Rich is saying not too far on the train. SAXV have been good away from home. If you're going to catch Biarritz cold, it's going to be after the break. So why not this game for SAXV, and why not them to break that home record? Béziers versus Nice, one for Cardiff fans maybe. So Cardiff are playing Perpignan on Saturday lunchtime. Béziers is about an hour away on the train. Historic stadium, obviously. And Béziers playing some really good rugby. And this is actually Nice's a reverse of Nice's first ever Pro D2 game, which they lost 9-13 at home. A pretty good early sign for Béziers to win that first league game of the season away from home. Nice, this season, they are winless in their last 8. Their last win was 18th of October. Their points difference has been interesting, so they are in triple figures negative. But they've only really been blown away at Oyonnax and at home to Grenoble in the last round. But all the others, they've been pretty tight. So is it just a case of they need to pick up some wins and maybe the confidence will come through? Maybe the break will have done them some good. They've only got 3 wins from their 15, which really isn't good. But they are actually the 5th best away team in Pro D2. I think that says more about Pro D2 than Nice being good away from home, because there's only 2 wins from 7. Béziers are making a strong case to be the best side behind Grenoble and Brive. Generally very high scoring games. They're playing some brilliant rugby, loads of attacking flair. Do have some physicality up front, which they'll need against Nice. I feel like we say it every week. Gabin Law is the current player of the season in Pro D2. Fullback, 22 I think he is. Absolutely rapid. Kicks long drop goals. Brilliant player. Playing at Lyon next year. He is one to look out for. I reckon he's a France international within the next 18 months. You heard it here first. He's also the top try scorer in the league. 11 from 14 games. Pretty good as well. Nice games have been tight, but this one probably won't be. Expect a high-scoring game, and we are expecting Biarritz to run away with that one. Oyonnax v Aurillac. Tough one to say. Tough one to predict. This is an intriguing one. Not just because it's 12th versus 13th. Both sides looking to get much clearer of relegation. But the most intriguing thing about this is because it's a reverse fixture of one of the most remarkable games of the season, where Aurillac won at home in the 87th minute thanks to a penalty try after Oyonnax received their 6th yellow card of the game. Yes, 6th yellow cards. It was only which put them down to 13 because Marlon Rabu got 2 of those yellow cards and got sent off. They had a period that they played with 12. They nearly edged it out, and then it all went to pot scrum time, and they got done for the penalty try. That reverse fixture was so symptomatic of Oyonnax's malaise. Like, at that time, their indiscipline was just off the chart. And they kept losing. They just couldn't get over the line. They kept seeming to find defeats where a win was in the offing. But they have turned a corner, we think. The break came at a bad time in terms of their momentum, but it may help them bring a bit of cohesion. They have had a lot of new players, a lot of star players, but they have lacked a bit of cohesion. I think the defence has been pretty shocking. Joel Ab, maybe, now he's back from England, might have had a few weeks to look at that defence and shore it up. Aurillac generally do well in the... Aurillac, or both teams, generally do pretty well in the winter months, but we are expecting Oyonnax to be nearer to the side that we expected them to be at the start of the season. They put 50 points on SAXV, second best at the time, best away side in the league. They put 50 points on them at home in their last home game. So maybe Oyonnax really have turned the corner. So we are going for them in this one. Agen v Provence was Rich's pick of the fixtures for this round. Agen are an incredibly hard side to work out. The Stade Armandie is not a fortress. It kind of feels like it should be. Would have been back in the day, that's for sure. But they have stopped the momentum of quite a few sides this season at Stade Armandie. Provence are now the only side yet to win away from home this season after Oyonnax won their last away game. They have got incredibly close a few times. They've lost both of their last 2 away games by 1 point. They also had a draw at Angoulême earlier in the season. On paper, they should have far too much for Agen. They've got a really powerful, dynamic, pacey squad. Should be blowing more sides away, to be honest. George North finally returned to training for them last week. He won't play in this game, but he should help them with that in the future to blow sides away. Him and Ngafi now in the centres is a ridiculous combination for Pro D2. But that away record is a real blot for them. I wonder whether it's a plastic pitch thing or it's a mental block or it's just bad luck. But it is quite hard to see beyond. So Rich is going for Agen at home. I was going to agree with him, but I've convinced myself with the stats and how close they've got that the Provence away win, is coming. It's got to happen at some point. Agen feels as likely as any. Nevers versus Montauban. I mean, good luck predicting anything with Montauban. They've been so up and down this year. Although before the break they were just starting to show a little bit more consistency. They've got the top point scorer in the league, Willie Duplessis. That's obviously helped with their consistency. He's been in fantastic form. He's really risen up the point scoring charts. Nevers generally have been pretty poor. For me, I think they're probably the second worst side in the league. Currently 14th, so one more win than Valence Romans, but they just haven't played nearly as much great rugby, and their pack just isn't very strong this season compared to last season. Having said that, home advantage is still a big thing in Pro D2 and for Nevers. It's a long old trip from Mont-de-Marsan to Nevers. It will be cold, so we are both backing at home. Rich was going to go for Mont-de-Marsan, but the length of the trip is the deciding factor for him. Valence Romans versus Colomiers, in all honesty, it's hard to get too excited about compared to the others. Colomiers' form perhaps started to pick up a little bit before the break. They had a good start, but that was kind of basically based on their fixture list, and they've kind of reverted to the mean over the second quarter of the season. 15th place Valence have been capable of some pretty good stuff. And in Lucas Merry, they've got the second top point scorer in the league. He was top point scorer for quite a lot of the league. So we are both going for Valence Romans. Feels like a game they need to target. Hopefully they'll win that to keep the league pretty spicy. Dax versus Brive, the final one. The other fixture that Rich called out on our podcast this week as one of the picks of the round. Why? Well, the main thing is the late Friday kickoff has been won by the home team in every round of top 40 Pro D2 so far. The first half of the season, all 15 games, all 15 home teams won the late Friday kickoff. Could Brive be the side to break that duck? Interesting one. Dax are pretty good. They are now in 6th. They're tough to beat. They're a physical side. Loose head prop in the team of the season so far, Louis Marie, or Louis Mary for English people. But that team of the season so far, that Pro D2 team of the season so far, had a lot of Brive players, including the other two members of the front row in Lucas Silva and Marcel van der Merwe. Brive, despite their depth, have been guilty of sending a weakened side away from home a couple of times. Only 2 wins from 7 away games. Think after the break they will go full noise. They had a few other players in that team this season. Sam Johnson was one of them. He's now out for the season, but they've replaced him with Matias Moroni, who's got like 80 caps for Argentina. It's a pretty useful replacement that in Pro D2. I think it does all hinge on the Brive team selection. If they do go there with Marcel van der Merwe at tight head, Courtney Laws, Kerwin Bosch at 10, Leo Carbonneau at 9, joining Racing next season. Matisse Ferte is absolutely electric at fullback. If Moroni plays, that is going to be a seriously, seriously tough side to beat. If Moroni plays, him up against Noah Nene, one of the most exciting attacking talents in France, let alone Pro D2, in that outside 13 channel, that's going to be interesting. But generally, we know that Dax are hard to beat, especially at home. 7 wins from 8. So we are both going for Dax. Late Friday kickoff is a big factor in that decision for us. So there we have it. We've both gone for 1 away win each. We couldn't bring ourselves to go all home wins. It's a fascinating round. Loads of storylines. Will the big boys flex their muscles? Let us know what you think in the comments. Get in touch. We want to hear from you.